Hey, what's up guys, NGH here, and welcome to a World Cup video, my first one, and we are going to be discussing the England squad, confirmed going to the World Cup. 23 players have been selected by Gareth Southgate. I'm a little bit late to the party, it happened just over a day ago now. I wanted to record my thoughts straight away, but I just wasn't able to, so I'm going to do it today. But actually it's been kind of a good thing that I've delayed it, because some players that haven't been included have come out with statements, one of them being Jack Wilshere, so I want to talk about that. But first, let's go through the entire squad. And so if you don't know, somehow, if you're an England fan or from England, whatever, if you don't know who's made it, then we'll go through it right now. So we've gone with 3 goalkeepers. Some squads tend to go with 4. I know Germany have gone with 4, but I think it really depends on who those goalkeepers are. I think Germany have such a great selection of keepers. It's unbelievable, whereas England, not so much. So we have Jack Butland. I think that was always a given. Jordan Pickford, who's been very good for Everton this season, and Nick Pope. What a season he's had. So I've got nothing wrong, personally, with those selections. I wasn't expecting Joe Hart, because he hasn't been particularly good over the last few years, so he hasn't made it. I can't really think of any others. Maybe Foster or Forster. Yeah, I think to be fair, I would take 3, and these are the 3 that I would take. Maybe instead of Nick Pope, I would have gone with Joe Hart, just to have that experience there. Not necessarily to play, but he will be someone for Butland and Pickford to speak to, you know, if there's any issues while on international duty. He's been through everything, isn't he, Joe Hart? He's kind of done it all. So, I don't know, sometimes I feel like you're taking players not necessarily to play them, but to be there to help the other players. And we've got quite a few youngsters. Moving on into defence, which is still crazy that Ashley Young is now, of course, a defender. I've always known him as a winger. Converted to a left-back at Manchester United, and he's done so well. So he's got himself a call-up. We've got Gary Cahill from Chelsea. We've got John Stones, Kieran Trippier, Kyle Walker, Danny Rose and Fabian Delph, along with Harry Maguire, Phil Jones and zero-capped Trent Alexander-Arnold, who of course has had a breakout season with Liverpool. I'm pretty sure this is photoshopped. There is no way that that's his neck. It doesn't look right to me. I think I'm a little bit surprised that he's been called up. But when you look at the array of defence or choices we've got for our defence, it's not really a bad idea. We've already got 2 other right-backs in this squad, with Kieran Trippier, who can also play left-back, by the way, and Kyle Walker, of course, who for me is one of the best right-backs in the world right now. Had a great season with Man City. So why not throw in Arnold as well? I think that obviously he's very inexperienced when it comes to well, football. He's quite a young guy. He's only played 1 season with Liverpool pretty much, and he's broken into their first team, and you know, he's effectively taken Klein's place at Liverpool and now England, which is pretty amazing. But the rest of the defence couldn't agree more with. I'm really happy to see Fabian Delph in there, if you can see him. I'm a little bit in the way. I was expecting to see him in the squad, you know, winning the league with Man City, out of position, playing so well. He played left back a lot of the season. He's been very, very decent. I don't think he'll start. I've got a feeling we'll go with Danny Rose at left back. But there's no Luke Shaw, so I'm guessing Fabian Delph will be used as a left back. He's been called up as a defender, as you can see there, just above this picture of Lingard. Even though Delph has effectively played as a DM or a central midfielder for the majority of his career so far. Ashley Young was a great call. Gary Cahill, I think he is somewhat past it, but I'm hoping that we're going to go with a partnership of maybe John Stones and Harry Maguire. I think he's been very solid for Leicester. Phil Jones is in there, but no Chris Smalling, which was interesting. Let's move on into midfield, of which I think actually Arnold could effectively play as a midfielder. He's done that recently for Liverpool. We've gone with Eric Dyer, Jesse Lingard, Ruben Loftus-Cheek, which was a bit of a surprise for me, Jordan Henderson, Dele Alli, and then we might as well talk about the forward straight away. I hate this. I hate this picture of Gareth Southgate, but I hate his face in general. I hate him. What a boring choice for a manager. But Danny Welbeck, Jamie Vardy, Harry Kane, of course, Marcus Rashford, Raheem Sterling. It's a good squad. It really is. But there are some players missing, which we'll talk about in a moment. But let's go backwards. Raheem Sterling, of course, has to be in the squad. For me, one of the best performers of the season in terms of English players. Marcus Rashford, I don't think has had a fantastic season. I think he's been okay. Of course, been playing on the left a lot, sometimes on the right, and not necessarily up front. I'm hoping if we go with a lineup with Rashford included, that he's more centralised. Maybe a partnership of him and Harry Kane. But Jamie Vardy being called up as well. He's had a very good season. A very underrated striker once again, because he's done so well in that campaign where Leicester won the league. He went a bit quiet, but this season, if you look at his stats, he's been incredibly good. And Danny Welbeck, I mean, you could argue a little bit lucky to make it. I think part of it is because he's been so good for England. Much better for England than he has been at club level, I would say. But he's a utility player. I don't think he'll start, but he'll be great to come on as a sub and bring that energy. And I don't think you could go wrong with the midfield except from one player that's been left out. You guys know who I'm thinking of. But Dele Alli had to go in there. Jordan Henderson, of course. I'd swap out Loftus-Cheek for Wilshere, personally. That's what I would be doing. Jesse Lingard's been brilliant for Man City, for Man United. And Eric Dyer, also very good for Tottenham. A real defensive player. Can play centre-back should we need him to. Overall, I think, what I want you to get from this video in terms of my opinions is I'm happy with this squad. I am. I think it's more than strong enough to at least get through the group stages and get to the quarters. That's all I'm hoping for. That's all England ever get, really. I mean, it's been well over 50 years since we last won the World Cup. And it ain't going to happen this time around, that's for sure. I'm still going with Germany or France. That's my prediction. But let's talk about the omissions. I've actually got a little list of players that I've figured out that haven't been put into the squad. So we've got Chris Smalling, Jack Wilshere, Lallana, Walcott, Hart, Sessegnon, Antonio, Sturridge, Klein, Barkley, Bertrand, Drinkwater, Forster, Lascelles, Shelvey. There's probably a few more that I've missed from the omissions, but there's one man in particular that I really think should be going to the World Cup, and that is Jack Wilshere. Now, I'm not just saying that because I'm an Arsenal fan. I think it definitely doesn't help in terms of me being unbiased, because I love Jack Wilshere. He's an Arsenal man through and through. But based on quality alone, if he's fit, he's got to go. And he has come out on social media over the last 24 hours and said that, of course, he's gutted and that he feels he could have brought something extra. He's probably looked at the squad himself and gone, they're all very similar. If we go through the midfielders, the real creative players we have are Dele Alli and Jesse Lingard. Eric Dyer, defensive, sideways passing. Ruben Loftus-Cheek, I guess, yeah, he's kind of creative, but still inexperienced. You've got Jordan Henderson, very similar to Eric Dyer, a lot of passing sideways, and that's it. There's no in between. Jack Wilshere is the perfect box-to-box choice. And I'm really, really, really surprised he's been left out. Now, Gareth Southgate said that he feels Wilshere had a good Christmas, that kind of December, January time, that he looked to be, in really good fine form, but towards the end of the season wasn't as effective, as he put it. So you're telling me that Ruben Loftus-Cheek had a better season? Maybe. Crystal Palace, I think, they were in a real state at the start of the season with Frank de Boer, but with forgotten his name, Roy Hodgson, ex-England manager, he's taken over and he's done really well to get them going. And I guess that's played a big part in getting Ruben Loftus-Cheek called up. But for me, Jack Wilshere's got to be in here. If there's one player that you need when, let's say, you're struggling 0-0, which, let's be honest, is probably going to happen. We always end up bloody struggling at 0-0. You need a midfielder that drives forward, that creates space, that makes good runs, but most importantly is just creative with his passing. To unleash our front talent. Imagine if we have got Vardy, Kane, Rashford, Sterling running ahead of Jack Wilshere. We're going to score goals. I don't see a Jack Wilshere type player here. I think Dele Alli is definitely more of a second striker almost. Very good finisher. Jesse Lingard, it's all about his running. He's such a great runner. He makes some really intelligent runs into the box and outside of the box, and I'm really happy he's made it. But I'm sorry, Loftus-Cheek has no right to be here when Jack Wilshere's fit. I really feel strongly. Even Jonjo Shelvey, I might put ahead of Loftus-Cheek. So that's the one area I feel really, really strongly that Gareth Southgate's got it wrong. Maybe he's gone with a bit more youth, a bit more physicality, because Ruben Loftus-Cheek is a big unit. He's a strong player. He will be great, I'm sure. He's going to be a fantastic player. But Jack Wilshere should have been in this team. That's just how I'm feeling right now anyway. And I'm going to really be upset if we do get into one of those situations where we need a Jack Wilshere type player to just unlock the defence for us. I don't think Smalling should have gone, per se. Lallana hasn't been fit. Walcott hasn't been good enough. Joe Hart, of course, no way. Sessegnon's an interesting one. Looks to be a future star, but is he ready for a World Cup? Well, if Alexander-Arnold is ready, maybe Sessegnon is as well. Maybe, just maybe, could have gone. But I don't know who I would have replaced. You know, we already have quite a lot of defensive players, so maybe not. Antonio, I don't think should have gone. Sturridge, definitely not. Klein, maybe, but again, I would have gone with Arnold instead. Barkley, nope. Bertrand, maybe. He's been solid, but Southampton have been poor this year. Bertrand's been one of their better players, though, I would argue. Drinkwater would be in this squad if he stayed at Leicester, if you ask me. Forster, maybe. Hasn't played enough for Southampton this season, but I think he is a great goalkeeper. Lascelles should be on the plane, maybe ahead of... Oh, that's a tough one. I think Shelvey is a definite maybe, but Lascelles has been, I think, one of the best players for Newcastle this season. But who would I replace? Oh, I don't think you can replace any of these. I'm debating between Phil Jones and John Stones here. But I agree with the defence. I do. I've got no problems with it at all. It's just midfield. Jack Wilshere should be right here. He should be starting if he's fit. I would do a midfield 3. Wilshere, Henderson, Dele Alli, or maybe Eric Dyer in middle instead of Henderson. That's probably what I'd be going with. And then a front 3 of Sterling on the right, Kane down the middle, and maybe Rashford as a left wing second striker as he drifts in. Or a Danny Welbeck, Jamie Vardy, you know, maybe a 2 up top formation would be best. I don't know. I know it's a difficult job for an international manager to pick a squad of 23, but come on, this is the England squad. It's nowhere near as difficult as the France squad, the Germany squad, the Spain squad, the Brazil squad. You have quite literally 50 world-class players. With England, you're not really deciding that many differences, are you? I think the majority of the decisions have been correct, but to miss out Jack Wilshere, I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but I think it's a travesty. He should be going. He's fit, he's played well for Arsenal since coming back, and he should be playing for England in the World Cup. He should be starting. He really should be. He's the most creative midfielder we've got alongside Dele Alli and Jesse Lingard. So that's going to be this video, guys. I'm sorry it's a little bit late. I've currently got my in-laws over. Ellen's parents are staying over this weekend, so I don't have as much time as I normally have to make these videos. So over the next few days, I'll figure something out, but it's not going to be any career mode, for example. But thank you for watching. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Make sure you click that notification bell so you get notified when I upload. And I will see you next time. And most importantly, I will see you for some World Cup content very soon.